And joining us now to discuss this via Skype is an environmentalist, Mfon Edet. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
So we just listened to the UN Humanitarian Coordinator Nigeria, Edet talking about the impact or the millions of dollars that have been spent in terms of getting assistance to those who need it, who are in the midst of this humanitarian crisis. Help us understand where we are in terms of the impact that climate change emergency has on the humanitarian system.
Right now, we are very, very big crisis, and like you said, it's, it's just the only way out because the resources being wasted spent on managing that could have been used for other meaningful infrastructure that help. Apart from the money that's been spent, the lives that have been lost, humanitarian lives, as well as the people in it. Lives have been, they cannot replace that. So we are in a very, very big crisis, and all hands will be on deck to ensure that we get, peace again.
So to put proper context to this, I've listened to environmentalists like yourself and climate change activists talk about how climate change might be at the heart of the conflict between herders and farmers. Talk to us more about that.
Climate change and crisis are two very, very big. They are two, it's a toxic combination because in the long run, people get displaced. We see mass displaced of people. Not only that, there's insecurity, apart from the insecurity of life, food insecurity is on the rise. And with the farmers and the herdsmen, always look at it like that. We have a big crisis at that. Not just livelihood being questioned or have the issue of how people survive. Shelter, physical and mental well-being is at stake. And we really hope that when with coming COP26 coming, the principal actors would come together and come to a reasonable conclusion in ensuring that there's a framework that would work to ensure that we have.
So we cannot stop some of the things we're seeing around the world. If you've been following our lineup of news on the What Now, you would have heard about the situation in Haiti, the earthquake. We've seen the fire disaster in California, in Italy. Earlier on, it was in Turkey. I mean, just around the world, drought in some parts of Africa. All of this is leading to agri-related losses of millions and billions of naira, of dollars rather. Is there anything we can do, or we're just supposed to live through this?
Right now, climate change, the reality of it is no longer revolved in thinking it's something that would happen. But right now, we are in it. The impact is being felt everywhere. Here in Nigeria, we are not left out. We are seeing high temperature, drought in the north. Flood is on the high rise now. So the little things that we can do to ensure that we keep our environment safe, like the rains in season of rain, we clear our waterways, ensure that there's effective planning in planning and ensuring not just planning, but people implementation of so many of the policies that we have. And we hope that everyone would ensure that they work together, disposing of waste, little things like disposing of our waste effectively, even recycling of this our waste instead of sending them to the dump site. And we have too much of waste going to a dump site, and they are non-degradable waste. See how we can reduce that in our own little way. So climate change is here with us, and how we can survive with it, ensuring that we look for alternative means for our livelihood to ensure that our natural resources are not depleted. And I think that would help us a whole lot in ensuring that we live through it, while a whole lot of work is being done to ensure that in the future we have a better, safe environment.
And millions of people around the world are losing their homes, their property, they're losing their lives just because of this natural disaster. It is creating a humanitarian crisis like no other. We're hearing terms like climate change refugees in other countries. We know we talk about the greenhouse gas emission and how we need to cut that. But what about adaptation? How well are we faring in terms of adaptation?
Well, I would say that Nigeria has really fared pretty well as regards adapting with the effect of greenhouse emissions. We've seen what happens in the likes of Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt, as we've seen, it's a city that over the years it suffered with the soot in the air, and we are hoping that we could, our government could ensure that they come up with policies that could reduce the effect of greenhouse emission in our society. And I said earlier on about reducing waste that goes to the dump site. That is another area where gas is being emitted to also affect our atmosphere. And so those little things that could be done, not just little, but with time, we'll see a very, very great impact in our side.
And we also understand that we haven't fared well as a country in terms of the funding for our humanitarian plan. Now, if we are to reduce the humanitarian crisis or the number of people who need humanitarian aid in Africa, I mean, you listen to a reporter there saying that over 8 million people still need humanitarian aid. And if we were to reduce that number, where should funding go in terms of dealing with the climate change emergency?
Funding, in my opinion, to go. There is no limit to where the fund, and right now we're not even getting the funding over the years. I think it's reducing. So for me, peace is the way to go. With if we have peace, I mean, trust me, we wouldn't be looking at where we'll be putting the money. But we should really look at putting more funding into ensuring that we get more equipment that would ensure that, no matter the amount you put, the humanitarians will still be at a very, very big risk. But because so many of them get to take care of, to manage situations as regards climate change and the men and women who are displaced, and even manage a whole lot that are psychologically affected as well. So I think the money should really go to those communities that really, really need it. And we are seeing a whole lot of communities coming up with a whole lot of issues. There should be dialogue and ensuring that we have peace, in our land. We would not have that much cost to spend that much money.
Absolutely. Climate change is a threat multiplier that requires all hands on deck. Thank you so much for talking to us as always. Environmentalist Mfon Edet.